everybody.
I'm Cameron.
And I'm Zach.
I know everything.
I made it through a full war.
You did, Zach. You did. And this is the Watching You Watch podcast. So, Game of Thrones, guys. We just made it through...
The attack on Helm's Deep.
Basically. So, we just made it through episode 9 of season 2. Called Blackwater. It is the Siege of King's Landing. Mm-hmm. And it is the first episode of Game of Thrones that takes place basically in one location.
Yeah, pretty much like right there.
Right there.
It was weird.
Just in King's Landing. We're not hopping around all over the world, so no Daenerys, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So this is the penultimate episode of season 2, Zach. How are you feeling about that?
I felt so conflicted because finally a lot of people that I liked had to fight each other and not everyone could live.
Yes. Good point.
And that's like kind of what I got to because I realized like by the end of the episode when I was cheering, it's like, oh my God, I'm cheering for Lannisters.
I know, right?
This is disgusting.
It's the battle of despicable people.
It's the battle of, look, freaking... Lannisters win again due to shenanigans and their freaking cheat codes.
So, Zach, go ahead. Why don't you recap what some of your highlights were from this episode?
Well, a lot of my highlights were just like the interactions, which I wasn't expecting because I was like, okay, lots and lots of action. Maybe they're going to go somewhere else. No, it stayed. There was a lot of great Cersei drinking wine and talking to Sansa
Perfect.
Conversations.
Yep.
They were just so tasty.
Yep.
But let's see. Tyrion steps up to the plate after Joffrey, as can be expected, like just goes and runs with his tail between his legs, which even better, speaking of tails and dogs and things, the Hound just straight up tells Joffrey to go F himself. He's done.
Yes.
He hands in his resignation letter in the middle of battle because he saw fire and he's just like, nope, I can't. I'm done.
I'm done.
This was not in my contract. I'm Gonzo.
Yep.
Which leads to another one of my favorite things is the fact that he may be just like stealing Sansa out of the capital, which is amazing, which would so totally change like everything ever. And I don't know, there's a lot of fantastic implications for Sansa getting out of the castle.
Okay.
Although I don't know how it'll be possible because the end of the episode did end with Tywin and the flowery
the
Tyrells, whatever.
Tycells. Yeah, that's like a mixture of Tyrells and Maester Pycelle.
Yeah. Well, he also showed up. Honestly, I forgot about him. I thought he was dead.
Nope. His beard is. Rest in peace.
No, he's getting a new beard. He's new beard 20 whenever the frack that came out. But yeah. Oh, that was another interesting thing because Cersei's all like, "Hey, Nightshade." Because basically she wanted to be able to go out on her terms in any number of ways.
Yeah, she's like, well, I got Nightshade, and I got a guy who will kill me, and my handmaidens, and all the women in my castle if things go badly.
Yeah,
so don't
because
get raped.
there's so much about, like, I don't know, and I love how she just breaks down and it's like, what? Jamie and I were, like, almost indistinguishable when we were children. Why did I get raised so differently? This is garbage.
Yes. I love how she's wearing her little, like, mini armor, too,
I know,
over her
it was
dress.
like some sort of, like, old-timey Madonna suit. It was ridiculous. I was just kind of like, why? What does that even do?
It really does nothing, except to say... I'm fighting with you.
Listen, wear armor like Brienne. Real freaking armor.
I know, real freaking armor. So anything else?
Do you want me to rant on like women's like costumes?
Well, we could talk about
games,
that for like a long time.
And like how the higher level the equipment is, the less body surface it covers.
Yes, it's like the inverse rule of female armor. It's ridiculous.
I don't understand. Like, I guess women's defense works differently. There's works on like sexual appeal. I don't understand. I don't think that's real life.
It's really lame.
It's really, really lame. And Brienne is my hero because she just kicks
she don't
that
care none.
Dude, she wears the armor. She lives and she kicks butt.
Yeah,
she wasn't even in this episode, and I had to bring her up.
Yeah, she wasn't. So anything else from Blackwater that you want to talk about?
Oh boy,
as your highlights.
Well, anytime Varys and Tyrion are together is also a highlight. Mm-hmm. Like, once again, a lot of, okay, so also there's a chance that Stannis's hand man might actually be alive, which is great because he's one of the people from like Stannis camp that I didn't want to die.
Yeah.
So because he got like this sort of, oh no, he sort of exploded a little bit. Like, and it's like, I'm just rooting for him to be alive.
Yeah.
Although I don't actually really necessarily know what's happening with Stannis. I suppose that they just like squirrel him away. I don't know. The attack on there was like really foolhardy. It's like someone who's like, listen, the second season of Firefly is behind those walls, but we really can't do it now because we don't have the time and resources. No, we're doing it now.
I mean, quite frankly, the second season of Firefly was sitting behind the walls of King's Landing. I'd be storming it, even if someone had blown up half my fleet.
I know, and that's why it's a great analogy.
It's perfect.
Yeah, because that's what Stannis wanted. He wanted the second season of Firefly, i.e. the Iron Throne. And he just didn't get it. And it's funny because honestly, because up until like Cameron brought up is like Sir Devos actually basically saved the world by not making Fire Lady showed up, because that fight would have been totally different if there was magic.
Yeah, he's like, hey, so maybe we don't bring creepy fire priestess.
And it's funny because him screwing over Stannis probably actually saved the world.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially considering Tyrion's
like fire plan.
Incredibly intelligent plan.
Yeah, which it was so funny. As soon as they're like watch him, like, oh Tyrion, you sly beast.
The one ship, and Zach's like, wait a second.
And like it was like one of the things like, oh, you sly man, Tyrion, you they are done. And then my thoughts immediately shifted to please Devos, get out of there, please.
And then the last we see of him, he's getting thrown from the ship in a fiery ball explosion.
Yeah. So I don't know. Oh boy. Yeah. So a lot of this episode was, I don't know, Game of Thrones did what it did best, and it was wordplay. So for this being in the literal middle of a war, there was awesome dialogue, and I loved it.
Yes.
And the action was also just like, whoa, geez, so many rocks.
Yeah, there's a lot of boulder throwing.
Yeah, there's a lot of boulder throwing.
Yep. Okay, so let's go back to kind of near the beginning of this episode. There's a really bizarre scene towards the beginning
where Bronn and Hound almost kill each other.
Well, yeah, Bronn and the Hound are like in the barracks, and they've got, they're drinking and carousing and all this kind of fun stuff, and then like there's this weird confrontation between the Hound and Bronn, and the Hound is all like, "Oh, like you love killing." And I love killing. You're not so different from me.
Yeah, he does that a lot. He's all really about the bringing up killing things.
He's got so much bluster, and which brings me to my question, especially considering how you saw his interactions with Sansa later, and the fire, and with Joffrey. Like, what do you think of these remarks he makes at the beginning about loving killing in light of that?
It makes me wonder if that's just how he sizes people up. I don't know if he's like he seems almost like those people who's like, he wants to find companionship, but he doesn't know how to find someone who's like him because he understands like who and what he is. It's weird. He's like so self-aware of himself, yet he doesn't know how to handle himself, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, I definitely see it as well, and there's also the fact that he probably felt like he may be like, the lead of, in the way that he is, like the king's special guard, but Bronn still has authority over him, and he doesn't like that because Bronn is actually head of the king's
Tyrion kind of came there and put Bronn over top of him. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So there's that. There's like, they have a lot of like tension that makes sense, but it's just weird that he does it now, especially when Bronn is like, I don't care, I don't give a frack.
Yeah, he really doesn't.
Well, and maybe that's even just like an envy thing, because he has to serve Joffrey, which is like absolute garbage, and then there's a man he sees who's just like himself, who gets to carouse and have women and not have to work for someone who's terrible. So I think that he can pretty easily tell that Tyrion's a better boss.
Maybe there is a little bit of jealousy there.
I don't know, but there's just a lot of things that he can pick at, and I think he just wants to push buttons, because obviously I think off screen a lot of his buttons were pushed just by the situation. Mm-hmm. So I think he's
like that
pushing
wonderful
back.
scene where Joffrey and Hound and Lancel and Tyrion are on the battlements, and like Joffrey and Tyrion are communicating to each other through their lackeys,
yes. Which was, and it's, you just see like everyone audibly like groan with their eyes when Lancel repeats what was said.
Like anytime Lancel appears on screen, I feel like during this scene, during this whole episode, it's just like, I
thought he was going to be dead,
here?
but he got away.
He somehow makes it You know, and maybe that just makes him worse for it, especially since like the last time we see him in this episode, he's getting pushed to the floor by Cersei in the women's
punched in the arrow hole.
Yes.
Cersei punches him in the arrow hole, and it's like, ouchie.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the Hound, though.
Yeah.
Regardless of like what like you think of him before, I feel like this episode is really pivotal to
For
understanding the Hound.
Yeah,
and
he got made into a lot
really
more of a
knowing
person because before he's just a symbol of the Hand and like also being a dog killing a-hole.
Yeah, like we see him as like Joffrey's lackey, and then it's really interesting to see him
just be like, no, F this.
Yeah, he gives that all up. And it's
due to personal trauma.
Yeah, it's like personal trauma, but like, is there something else going on there? Like, he could have, like, if it was just personal trauma, like in the whole like fire thing, like he could have just like hightailed it and left, but he doesn't. The first thing he does is he goes to visit Sansa in her quarters, and then
he was waiting there for her because it's like he knew she would be there,
right? And it's like interesting because the last time we saw the Hound and Sansa interact with each other, it was when he was saving her from getting raped that one time.
Yeah,
you know, there's this really bizarre thing
it's a very
going on
odd
there.
Yeah, and it's not like I don't think that there's any kind of poor intent. I think that she just somehow hit some sort of a thing in his heart. Maybe he had like a sister or something. There's like some sort of like unresolved thing that he couldn't do that Sansa is refilling. Is my personal thoughts on it. And also, he's not dumb. He understood what was happening, and at that time what he made was probably about the best call, because he understood what was going to happen, and he was going to help someone who was worth helping, because honestly he understands just how much Joffrey sucks.
Yeah,
we've seen that before. And the thing with it is he's a hired killer. It's no skin off his nose to just like walk out and be like, hey, someone else, I will kill people for you, and I'm pretty darn good at it.
While we're talking about the Hound too, I also wanted to ask you kind of about Sansa and the Hound. There's this really great scene at the end of the episode where he's like, I could take you out of the castle. I could take you back home. And she says, it's almost like her like carbon copy statement of, oh, but I love Joffrey. And
he's
I
like,
should
no,
stay
stop.
Here. And like, so basically, like, she turns him down, kind of, you know, by saying that at the end there. What did you make of that? Like, Sansa has an opportunity to leave, and she doesn't take it.
She's probably thinking so hard into the game, she thinks it's some sort of a trap.
Okay.
And honestly, wouldn't you, if you see, like, the person of the king saying, it's like, okay, let's spirit away. Haha, another one of Joffrey's tricks. He's just dicking around in the middle of a war.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you got to think that it's got to be like hard for her to trust like anybody, especially
especially someone completely related to Joffrey, and also someone who brings up like hard truths that it sucks for someone like her to, you know, like realize. It's like the world, and he made a great point. The world is literally run by killers. You better learn to be able to look at them.
Right.
Which that was like one of my favorite lines.
Yeah, yeah, and even after all that convincing, there's still like a no to that. You know, like she's still like, no, I won't go with you. It's really interesting.
I don't know, but at the same time, it seems that she was still following after him. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting scene.
Anything
for sure.
could happen.
So let's move on. Let's talk about one of the great B plots of this episode.
Great B plots.
That would be Cersei. So while the battle's going on, Cersei has gathered all the women, and they're hiding in a part of the castle.
I love how they were talking. It's like, she must hate me, Shay. And she's like, no.
Yeah, there's like all this like catty girl politic kind of stuff going on here.
But
that's
I think
really
that
terrible.
Shay does actually have a great point where I think Cersei actually, I don't know. So is
Cersei jealous of Sansa?
I don't know if she's necessarily jealous. I think she just sees someone who's like, oh my god, girl, come on.
So
no,
it's like it's
like she wants to be. She sees her as being herself, and she's like, she's trying to be some sort of like a weird queen to be mentor,
right? Yeah,
and it's weird because the funny thing is that she knows she's being helpful, but she's doing it for herself.
Yeah. So obviously, too, in this we get a lot of really great character moments for Cersei and for Sansa. What did you make of just how they grew as characters in this episode itself?
I think that Sansa is getting well toughened up, which is good because she was like a peach. Now she's like a peach with armor.
She was like cool as a cucumber through most of that battle. Like she was not freaking out through most of it.
Yeah. Although I do think it's kind of funny that she just like started to him and then like got to just like go away.
Yes. Yeah.
Everyone
that was great.
really got into him making.
Yes.
And then she just like left and like, yeah. And then we'll sing the Freebird hymn.
Anyway, so and then while this is going on too, of course, Cersei is rapidly devolving into drunk Cersei.
Yes.
And
drunk Cersei is best Cersei.
Yeah, drunk Cersei is best Cersei. What did you think of drunk Cersei?
Drunk Cersei has less than the filter she has before, and she's still great. It's pretty phenomenal to see drunk Cersei because she just tells stuff how it is, and it's like, everything here is garbage. Listen, girl, you have to like shape up. Also, drank. Yeah, seriously.
It's like I'm going to tell you something terrible
Sansa how
and
to
drink. It's like a drinking game. I'm going to tell you something terrible
and you drink, and eventually you're going to want to drink because life is awful.
Which
and
happens.
I'm gonna prove this to you.
Yeah, I love it
because I have lived this awful life. Listen to me sob.
Yes, it's great.
It's funny
though.
because it's therapeutic for Cersei, and it's also beneficial to Sansa, and she knows both.
Yeah, she's opening up about her past and her complicated relationship with her brother and her father, and like the expectations that are placed upon her as a woman and as a queen, and all these things, and like she's opening up about all of this to Sansa of all people.
I know. Well, and that's because she can't stand anyone else there, which is funny because Shay's comment of like, you're the person she hates the least is probably about right.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. That's an interesting point.
Oh, and also that she tears apart Shay, and I'm just like, oh no, oh please no, come on.
And somehow Shay lucks out through all of it too.
Still, mostly because she's in drunk Cersei mode. She's not
mostly
necessarily
drunk
in
Cersei.
full.
And then Lancel comes in
mode.
and kind of diffuses the situation a little bit.
Well, and by diffuse he means he gets her out of there. So the only place you're safe from Cersei is not near Cersei.
So yes, it's one of my favorite B plots, if you could call it that, from an episode of Game of Thrones.
It's good.
Our A plot, though, mostly involves Tyrion and his cunning plan to save King's Landing. Obviously, he's a genius, how he pulls that all together. And like we talked about in the recap, you kind of saw, as soon as you saw that one ship coming, like where this was going
immediately.
But did you see like Tyrion's rousing speech to the soldiers coming? Like, did you see him like being kind of that figure to the soldiers and it working?
I could see him doing it. I mean, he did it for barbarians. He could do it for literate people. Probably mostly literate people.
Yes, probably mostly literate people.
Yeah, I don't know. And I just think it's great because he knew how to get a hold of them too. He first insulted them to get their attention again. And then he went into rousing speech.
Yep.
Which is great. I don't know. Yeah.
Tyrion knows the talking.
Tyrion understands talking, although I'm not really unsure like why he passed out from like a face cut.
Yeah, it looked pretty gnarly though. Him getting cut across the face.
I don't know. If it was a face wound, it should have bled a lot more. Listen.
And of course, we have to point out here that Tyrion's attempted murder is a gold cloak,
which it doesn't necessarily surprise me, but it's funny that he's so surprised by it.
Right. And of course, he's saved by his squire, Podrick, of all people.
He's a cool kid.
Podrick's a cool kid, yeah. So, obviously, I think we have another whodunit on our hands.
Oh, no. Cameron, I learned a secondary character's name. Please tell me he lives through the next episode. No. Not like
I make no promises.
Man. Not like Yoren. Please.
Like everybody.
Like literally everybody.
Zach, you have like a flashback of like dead friends in your mind right now, don't you?
It hurts.
Anyway, so Tyrion's attempted killer. Let's get back to there. Last season we had kind of a whodunit moment with the attempted killer of Bran. So let's kind of do it again. There's a lot of people in the show who might have access to a gold cloak and would be willing to send that person as an assassin to kill Tyrion. So who do you think is behind it this time? Who do you think is trying to kill Tyrion? I mean, we've already had... There's a lot of animosity that he has, towards him. He's made a lot of friends, a lot of enemies during his tenure as Hand. It's been implied that his dad's tried to kill him before with the whole battle with the barbarians in the first place.
Yeah.
So, who do you think did it?
Ooh, boy. Man. Well, it's not Varys. It can't be Varys.
You sure about that?
I am 100% sure it's not Varys because his MO would not allow him to take up someone who keeps peace and order for the kingdom.
Right.
He has
they
to
were
be
pretty
out.
chummy in the past couple episodes.
Not necessarily, yeah, and it's not. And the funny thing is, it's not due to chumminess. Absolutely not. I know that that's no predictor of anything in this show, but
True.
just knowing his core character and what Tyrion does for King's Landing.
Littlefinger and Ned were pretty chummy with each other, right?
Well,
Am
listen,
I right?
Littlefinger wanted his wife.
That's true.
Varys doesn't want Tyrion's lady.
That's true.
As much as they have good banter.
Yeah, they have delightful conversations, so maybe.
Yeah, no, stop trying to plant seeds of doubt in my heart.
We shouldn't take it off the table is all I'm saying here.
No, stop. I am making my heart have less palpitations.
Okay, anyway. Okay, seriously, though. Who do you think did it?
I wonder if it's something that's... Oh, frick. Maybe Pycelle.
Okay. He wants revenge for his beard.
Yeah, I'd see him being able to... Okay, here's the long con. I think it's like a Cersei meditated thing through Pycelle.
Oh, okay.
I think that it's not something that was done there. I think it was sort of a side thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One theory that I have that absolutely terrifies me is Bronn.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Bronn would have access to a gold cloak.
Yeah, but I could not see him. I don't want to take him off the table, but at the same time, I feel like he's like, the butler in the situation. In the murder mystery thing, it's like he's the butler. He's the one who has like all the access to everything that seems to be incriminating. But I don't think it's Bronn.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, thank
so
God
it's like
for Podrick.
Cersei and Bronn but I still think it's like sort of Pycelle.
Okay.
I haven't even seen Littlefinger, and
He's
honestly,
been not really there for a lot of episodes.
Yeah, and honestly,
kind of
I don't think that it would be him. He's been moving and shaking other things.
Right.
He doesn't have time to be like, by the way,
Catelyn related things.
Yeah, it's like, oh, by the way, can you go kill Tyrion while I look at all of my like fold out posters of Catelyn?
I'm just picturing him now having he has
it's the random stalker photos.
He has
except
a secret
huge.
Wall inside of his whorehouse
where he had people sit and make portraits on the sly of her.
Yes, these sketchy drawings of her, and then there's one or two of him that are terrible stick figure drawings because he can't draw of him and Catelyn and hearts between them. Yes. That's Littlefinger.
So it's what had happened if a middle schooler got to make a shrine to his first crush.
There you go.
And he's had 20 or so years to do it.
And there's all sorts of really creepy things like
locks of her hair
and
a dress that she was I'm done with this, and he's dumpster. I imagine him just with a snorkel dumpster diving, this is the best birthday ever.
Yes, or a hanky or something from her.
Oh boy.
Or a candle that she had burned once, or something like that. I don't know.
Just something.
All these random things from her. Maybe some of her voodoo magic stuff that she had.
Oh yeah. Or he took up to trying to make voodoo magic, but he wasn't very good at it. The last few... I was thinking he'd have a bottle with the last few drops of wine from her glass.
Oh yeah. That could work too.
Gosh. There's any number of weird fantasy things he could have gotten.
Yes. Wow.
The horse she petted once.
Yes, he's he saw her walking by the stables and she pet that horse, and then he's
I'm buying it.
He's I'm buying it.
I want it.
It's not for sale. I'm buying it.
Money is not an option. And he just starts throwing women at the person until they're suffocated, because that's how being a pimp works.
That's how being Littlefinger works.
When you're a pimp, you just get to throw your women on your problems until they're suffocated.
Right. I just
like Pikmin.
Oh gosh, that is the worst comparison ever, but also the best comparison
The
ever.
Pikmin pimp.
Okay, well,
It's time to make more titles for more people in my
dear.
fanfic.
so I want to talk about just the result of the battle in general here, because we knew this battle was coming for a long time now. We knew this boiling point was coming where Stannis was going to try and take King's Landing. It was pretty much inevitable the moment Renly was out of the picture.
Yep.
Stannis had a lot on his side, and a lot of things that were lined up to make him look like potentially the clear victor.
But I'm really actually kind of glad he isn't. But it's sort of one of those things where at the end of it, I was like, yay.
Yeah, I know, right? So before this episode, what did you think was going to happen? And now what do you think is going to happen as a result of this battle? And how it really turned out.
I thought of more of it would be more of a commander kill. Like he would take things, but then somehow he would get murdered, and then things would all get thrown into disarray. And Davos would be like, nope, we're done.
And yet, Davos
didn't even see the freaking fight. All he saw was a flash of brightness, and he was done.
Yep, kaboom.
Boom, roasted.
Yep. So and then Stannis is literally his soldiers had to pull him out of the battle because
I know, because he would have kept going. He would have stopped.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know, we see even more, he just had creep smile every time they're getting closer to the fight. He just
he wanted it so bad.
It was kind of terrifying, actually. It made me very worried for how he would run a kingdom if you would just and they're like, but we're gonna lose a lot of people. Yeah, thousands. And then he just goes to fight, and it's in what universe is this ever a good idea?
Hold up.
Yeah, exactly. But he didn't.
Yet the immediate reaction is what you had already. It's okay, yeah, he won the battle. Oh wait, the Lannisters are still in power.
Yeah, I was
yeah. So what do you think is going to be the fallout there, though, of this?
We have a new alliance, which is definitely going to change the shape of the war. The North could take more ground, while the Lannister position is maybe slightly weakened, but not really, because I think that the Tyrell forces were basically the only reason they can make make it work. Basically, because Tywin brought his vanguard and then got the Tyrells and was here we go.
Yep. And so that's a great triumphant entry of Loras
which is
coming in,
which sucks because it's such a big win for the Lannisters in so many different respects.
Yes.
Because they've actually made an ally, a for real one you see on the battle.
Right.
Not that they probably already didn't. It's just that we don't get to break down those things like they would in the book.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, well, let's go into our weekly wrap-up questions here.
Arya
wins on a Stalker of the Week that she's not even in?
It's Sansa. I lied. It's Sansa by a landslide because she's the only Stark in this episode.
I know. If it weren't by default, she would get it anyway, I think, she is actually awesome in this
Literally,
episode.
because since I thought that it would be cutting more places, I almost let her win for the interaction she had with Joffrey, where she, with, what is it, Heart Eater or whatever.
Yeah, Heart Eater, the sword. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's you're going to, lick your brother's blood off of this, but she just I don't know. I said that she had a +3 to skills and tactful Joffrey dissing.
Yeah, I love that scene where she's implying you're such a strong man, my husband to be. You're going to lead the vanguard, right? And he's blah 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 blah.
It's my brother does it.
Yeah, and
he immediately gets huffy and
you
makes her feel bad.
I feel you could almost tell in Sansa's brain a little bit, her being well, maybe if I get him to go out into the vanguard, he'll die.
Yeah, if I can goad him just right, he could be dead.
Yes.
And that's beautiful, and it's great.
It's also a very Cersei-esque move, if you really think about it.
Whatever.
Kind of scary,
No, it can't be a Cersei move because Cersei would never do anything to actually harm Joffrey.
That's true. Well, no, I'm just saying, manipulating a man.
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to
the way that,
I don't like these implications in certain respects.
Well, but
I kind of do and I kind of don't.
Cersei herself is drawing the connection there. She said it in the scene with Sansa, if Stannis were to take the city, I'd have to seduce him into not killing me, basically. Yeah,
and he's one of the few people who I couldn't do that for. And then Sansa's all and she's all oh, come on.
Yes. Sansa's what? Why? So yeah, Sansa, I think this is one of her few wins that you've given her.
Well, also win because you can actually see like development as character and a lot more of her just getting to do stuff, because almost always she's reactionary, and this time she's taking like doing things, like actually doing some things.
So way to go, Sansa.
Yay.
You
I mean,
made
it's
it.
not that you couldn't win it, but I definitely feel it's deserved. This was a great Sansa episode.
Right. Okay, well, then let's talk about the crown, which might be a little difficult to talk about because so much of the way that people have been kind of playing the game this episode has been playing a game of war.
Well, I know who wins.
Well, who wins?
Tywin.
Oh, okay. So is that for brokering the deal with the Tyrells and saving the day?
Yeah, and also be able to keep his war front. I didn't actually understand how freaking just like good he was at all of that. I mean, like, it's not even like Tyrion. He had to make do. Tywin was like, well, here we go. I'm going to clean up the mess. And he does it beautifully.
Yep, he does. In fact, if he hadn't shown up there with that brokered alliance,
They would have been done still.
Yeah, it'd been done.
Yeah, because it was pretty funny. It's like Tyrion's like, yay, we took down the battering ram. Oh, God.
Yeah, then you see this like massive army coming towards him, and he's just like, I was wrong. I was so wrong.
I was so wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, because basically, well, and that actually kind of made sense. I mean, to me, it seems sort of almost like comical, but in the same sense, like literally the big reason why they were able to like stay ahead is because the landing party couldn't land in mass because like there's all the ships broken up in there. So basically, that's the everyone else that got to the, you know, like the shore like a mile up probably.
Yep.
Because, you know, there's wildfire freaking everywhere.
Yep. And yet, you know, I even though Tywin's the winner of this one, I think Tyrion deserves honorable mention for just how well he planned that battle.
Well, obviously.
You know, he did everything he could, and if he didn't do it, we still, I think, would be talking about a different outcome for this battle. But, like...
And obviously, the worst was Stannis to keep going. If he had regrouped, he could have done so much better, and he could have seen, like, I don't know. There's just so many things that could have happened that could have been better. Because then, like, Tywin, like, came in all, like, Gandalf at first light and fracked him up.
There you go. Perfect analogy. Okay, let's talk about death. Lots of death, right? Best death, worst death. You have a lot of choices to go through in this one.
Okay. Well, best death goes to Davos's son, who dies by fire, so he can probably just live forever with the one eternal fire god.
What she fervently believes in. So
yay! Good for you, guy. There's a lot of choices.
Yep.
If we'd had a death kill count, or
it would have been so hard to keep track of.
It would have been even better.
We would have been on the floor.
We would have been dead.
Yeah.
And I would have loved it. We could have added, and like as we died, the last thing is I put one last scratch into the kill count, counting myself.
Yep. It's like that scene from Indiana Jones where they're playing the drinking game and like you just flip over the cup, like the shot glass, and it's like, yes, another one down. That would be a terrible drinking game actually to play with Game of Thrones.
Worst drinking
and death.
Game.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway.
I can't even think of necessarily who is the worst. I feel bad for dude who was fighting Stannis and got like half of his head cut off.
Ooh, that was a pretty gnarly one.
He still could have kind of been there. The Hound had a lot of like gory deaths. Like he had the person where he almost cut him in half, but not quite.
Not quite. And then there was the guy he actually cut in half. I think there was one he actually did kind of...
I don't know.
Chopped someone in half. There was several people who got their skulls crushed by boulders.
Just destroyed.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know.
Plus I'm going to guess at least hundreds of men who died in a green fireball.
Yeah. Probably still on fire underwater because it's like the oily stuff.
Yep.
Which that's terrible. I mean, when oil hits water, I can only imagine how sucky it is for those people who actually jumped into the water.
Yep.
I don't know. That would suck.
I just love how you can see the fire just seething out and consuming, and it's just like
that was my comment. It's like, my God, it's like they blew up Maleficent in the middle of that army.
Yes. Okay, so yes, so worst death. I really feel like could go to any of those you mentioned.
Yeah,
maybe collectively, just the random soldiers dying.
Like random soldiers took one for the death team.
Yep. Thank you, random soldiers.
Not a lot of I don't know, it must have been like a lull in like The Walking Dead and they needed more like all the death stunt people are like, but what do we do? How do we feed our families? And Game of Thrones is like, get over here, we have this big fight.
Yep. Okay, let's talk about plans. So plans moving forward might be a little bit hard to evaluate in this episode because this is mostly about enacting plans.
Well,
and it works for some people, works for others. But who made the best plan? Moving forward.
Poopy doop. I once again goes to Tywin, not only for winning the crown, but honestly brokering an alliance with one of the power players. That's just too good. It is literally too good. But worst plan goes to the Hound.
Oh, you think betraying the king, especially in the fashion he did, is gonna bite him in the butt?
Yeah, betraying the king, who's a little bit kill happy, is pretty bad. Although, so happy to see Captain America Knight was juggling for the ladies.
Yeah, Sir
he was
Dantos
alive.
was juggling for them. He's still alive, still kicking.
Yeah, good job, Captain America Knight.
Poor Sir Dantos.
I don't know.
I mean, at least he's alive.
It's a pretty sweet gig.
Pretty sweet gig.
Being
I guess.
alive and juggling is better than being chopped almost in half
and not juggling.
And not listen. I saw that person juggle. It was his organs.
Ew. Okay, Zach. How hopeful are you after seeing this battle? I mean, it's hard to feel hopeful when it's the Lannisters who won.
I don't know.
But at the same time, you can't help but
at the same time, I see. I don't know. I mean, it means that we get to see more of Marjorie and different things. I want to see her game because it makes me hopeful because she could just F up Camp Lannister. It would be amazing.
You really think so?
I don't know. Who knows? Who can say? I don't know what their play is.
Okay, so does that mean you're going up in hopefulness?
Yeah, surprisingly.
Okay.
And it's more of a feeling. And that's what's weird because I'm used to going off of so many different varying factors. And all we have is this one battle, which is odd.
Yeah.
So, 5.5? 5.5?
Okay.
We only jumped a point from last week, I think.
Okay.
Or maybe, I don't know, I don't remember what it was. But
we're still kind of middle of the road.
We're slightly, just the very tiniest bit above half.
Right. Well, we are almost finished with season 2,
Oh,
Zach.
man.
We got one episode
All the dragons
left.
better be alive.
Yeah.
All the direwolves better stay alive.
All the
Jeez.
remaining direwolves.
Stop. This line of conversation, it makes me still sad.
Yes. You still have your Lady Branflakes, though.
Listen, Lady Branflakes is just working on their stealth levels so that way they can get major sneak attack bonuses.
There you go.
It's gonna be great when he just pops out of the castle what up, Greyjoys? I'm about to send you to your drowned god. Get out the cement blocks, Hodor.
Okay, so while we're talking about headcanons here, do you have any other notable headcanons that you really hope happen in next episode?
I just really want Sansa to be piggybacking out of King's Landing with the Hound.
Yes. her arm
Just
pointed in the air and her being to victory and the Hound being to away from Joffrey.
To away from Joffrey, and she's what's the difference?
Perfect.
And they both have a slight chortle.
Yeah, there we go.
and Bronn just drops his new single.
Yeah. I'm picturing Bronn as
Bronn is a rapper.
Bronn's a rapper?
100%.
But he was singing though in this episode.
I know.
He and even
that was his single. That was the promo.
Okay, his prostitute was all you have a pretty voice, and he's thank you, I know.
He's getting groupies.
Groupies he paid for. But
listen, if Bronn doesn't sound like a rapper name, Bronn the Gold Cloak. Come on.
Oh,
how is this not a real rapper name?
Yep. It needs to be now.
It needs to be now. It could be me. No, it won't. That would be awful. It would be a joke thing, and that's sad because it could be a real thing.
Gosh, it would be so bad.
Come on.
So good, but so
actually,
bad.
or that's maybe that's what George R. can do. He can just rap about his process and how it takes years.
As Bronn the Gold Cloak.
As Bronn. Interesting.
There we go.
That is another interesting thing because when somebody writes, people come from pieces of themselves and people that they've seen. I don't know. I'd just be very interested in the kind of life that he had lived to lead him to make this kind of stuff.
You mean George R.R. writing Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny that you mention it because this episode's written by George R.R.
100%.
So
possibly he'll drop George R.R. will be yeah, I'm Braun, the Gold Cloak.
You
Here
know,
we go.
honestly, I would just settle on him releasing the next book. I really would.
I don't know. I want him to drop fat beats
Oh, gosh.
and Lannister heads.
Well, anyway, as much as we would want that to happen, we've got one episode left, and if you've been following with us, things are gonna get exciting as Zach finishes up season 2.
Did we say the story of why I'm terrified of these last 2 episodes?
No, why are you terrified?
Because we went out to the local cider bar and I was
okay.
introducing Cameron and it's like, hey, this is the person I podcast with, to the bartender I talked to. He's like, oh, cool. And it's like, where are you in the show? And he's like, we're right before like the attack on King's Landing, which he didn't even like drop the name of it being Blackwater. And she was like, oh.
Yep.
Oh,
and we had this like knowing glance. Yep.
You're F, sir. And I'm like,
And now you made it through that, so...
No, I'm not safe. And the fact you said, oh my god, I'm even more scared now. I had my crown on the entire time, my crown of safety.
Yeah, he had his inflatable Game of Thrones crown on there. So, you know, I guess it kind of kept him
Take
safe.
me to my safe place, and oh man, I don't know. And oh man.
Yes. Well, if you've been following along, you'll have to see if Zach makes it through next episode. If you have been following along and are interested to see where we take this next into season 3 after this, if you got leading questions for that, send them our way. You can comment on the YouTube video of this. You can also connect with us on Twitter and on Tumblr.
Yeah, and on the iTunes, 5 stars and reviews that tell us we're pretty.
We like that too. You know, you can like, subscribe, rate, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
it just takes a few
click.
click.
Yep. So, yeah, and, you know, it's going to be real exciting. From this point, we're going to kind of talk about what we're going to do next. We might take a break from Game of Thrones for a little bit and do another series. We're not quite sure.
Yeah,
maybe another anime.
Yeah.
Because we really liked how that worked with Attack on Titan.
Yeah, it was nice. It was short form. It was great, and we got to...
So...
Yeah.
You know, it might be something different. We don't know yet.
And it might be run by me, which means it will undoubtedly be different.
Fun.
I don't know if I'll be able to actually. Well, there's a few animes I could torment Cameron with.
There are probably more than a few. So yes. But anyway, so yeah, keep in touch, and we'll keep you posted on what's to come as far as that goes. In the meantime, make sure you come back next week for the conclusion of season 2. Oh man, it's gonna be good. I know I'm gonna have a lot of fun.
I'll try.
Zach, are you gonna have a lot of fun?
I'm gonna try.
Are you sure?
Stop. Don't. The more you ask me, the more scared I am. I'm just scared. I'm a scared little doe in a wood full of evil things.
And Zach tears are delicious as always.
You need to add Gatorade to my thing because I need more hydration.
He needs to be hydrated so we can get more of these tasty Zach tears.
If you want more tears, you're gonna have to hydrate.
I'll work on that.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, we'll catch you next time when we finish season 2.
I hope there's dragons.